In today's video, we're going to be looking at what is taking place currently in 2023 with this beautiful bull run taking place inside Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. We're going to be looking at what comes next if we're going to be able to consolidate and extend these gains, or if potentially we're looking at further signs of exhaustion taking place. Are we getting hints through the other cryptocurrency market through alts that we might be looking at a potential local top over here? We'll zoom in and we'll look at what levels need to hold, what levels will invalidate this current breakout that is currently taking place. And if it's invalidated, what downside targets might look like, what would be next. We're going to be looking at the traditional markets through the lens of the US dollar, which is currently, to most people's surprise, getting ready for a potential buy impulse today. We'll look at the S&P 500. We'll look at the NASDAQ. And we will also look at 4-year cycle awareness just to make sure that regardless of what happens, that we stay on the right side as we are looking at both Ethereum, Cardano, and Bitcoin, all looking at making new all-time high account balances. We'll be looking at CTM 2.0, this beautiful exit that took place on Bitcoin yesterday. And then we'll move forward into stocks and make sure that we put it all together in today's episode. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. This is Jordan with Conquering the Markets. Let's get into it. If at any point in time you do enjoy the content and you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Also, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get going today and move into it. CTM. What's going on, everyone? I hope you're well and doing great as we get ready to kick this week off this Monday, making sure that we do what we do best, and that is put the work in and make sure that we stay on the right side. There's a lot of people out there very excited about the current run-up that we've experienced. We've come off of these lows significantly. Actually, we've come up almost 100% off the lows, and people are like, bull market up only. I don't know. I do know that why price was down over here and people were telling you that we're going down to 10,000. That's not the view we had. By the way, I did change the channel name to Conquer the Markets as per Friday's live stream together. I don't know if I guess it'll show up soon on YouTube, but this video was sent out 4 months ago. This was the bull market breakout 4 months ago. We were trading significantly lower, and we took a look at it together. I'm trying to find just a good view to show you over here as I go through the scrolling. And there's what I wanted. There, price was, under 17,000. People were really scared. And we were talking about switching from that defensive posture, attacking on the sell side. You remember Cardano in 2022? Only sell side trades, not one buy side trade. Ethereum was a little different. Ethereum in the summer, July 15th to middle of August, took a massive 52% gain. We trade both sides without bias. And both sides doesn't mean when people over here are looking for us to crash and burn and we're looking for Bitcoin things to happen, that we're just going to get comfortable. I don't know that they will continue. Let's take a look at the schismatic. Let's take a look at what's going on, and we see that if this trend is to continue, look at that beautiful beauty. Boom. Breakout, retest, resumption off, that we're looking for something like this to happen, consolidation to take place. Now, we're not anywhere near in the 4-year cycle of this type of behavior where we're looking from the bottom, a huge move up, and then towards the top. Now, there are people out there who do believe that Bitcoin might hit a new all-time high in 2023 and even crash and burn in 2024. In a video, in one of the sessions ahead, we'll be looking at what it would look like if Bitcoin were to make a new all-time high in 2023. Whether it does or not, be aware as we approach, if we do approach, I should say, the 0.786 retracement level, fib retracement level hit in prior four-year cycles. The FOMO is going to be intense. The FOMO is going to be real. It is right now. It is right now, and I have a little bit of concerns that I want to talk to you about. Some of those concerns we've been looking at, and that is Bitcoin over here is pulled away from what the real yields and treasury markets are doing. There is an old adage that follow the bond market. It's the smart money. Now, whether it is, it's not. I personally don't think it is. If you look at what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, those people were buying bonds expecting rates to stay low. That's not where myself, the rest of crypto Twitter, that's not where the great legend Stanley Druckenmiller was looking at. Look, we have to follow what's happening in real time and make sure we stay ahead of it. But this was a warning signal that did occur. Bitcoin over here, going back to September 2022, was shooting up. And then we had a signal telling us, look, they're deviating from each other. One of those is going to be right. One of those is going to be wrong. Last time it was Bitcoin that was wrong. This time, which will it be? We're soon going to find out. But now today, I've noticed a lot of people are talking about altcoins and Altseason taking place. I want to take a look at that with you because Altseason is generally money flowing out of Bitcoin into altcoins, making massive gains against the US dollar and Bitcoin. Altseason is not money flowing out of Bitcoin into alts to bleed against the US dollar. Last week's pump in altcoins could be a sign of exhaustion and a local top. Look, I know the environment we're in is that like everyone's an expert, up only. That's not what we're here for. We're here to really like make sure that we stay ahead. And that means making sure that we're not only have awareness of what has happened in the past, but that we don't do anything like simply take that as any type of indication it's going to happen again and do our best to navigate these markets together. It's extraordinarily difficult to stay on the right side, but together we can do it. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me go back over here to, this was April. Remember Bitcoin peaked over here in April. Let me add this to it. You can see Bitcoin on the bottom in an orange color, and Bitcoin peaked in April. And you saw why Bitcoin peaked, that Ethereum ran against it hard. Not just Ethereum, you saw lots of altcoins. Is it potentially possible that we are close to something like this? Notice how first you see both of them pull back against the US dollar. And then out of that, they run off. And maybe even we do have an alt season. Yes, that is entirely possible. It's entirely possible that right now we are seeing a pullback. You can see the altcoin market pulling back, Bitcoin's pulling back, and Ethereum. Notice that Ethereum made a stronger grasp to the upside than Bitcoin. That could be a potential sign that after this pullback that just begun, and we'll look at the technicals on Bitcoin specifically and look for exact invalidation points. Look for if we have a breakdown, likely where we're headed. And also point out the fact that right now we're doing nothing more than coming in for a good old-fashioned retest of a very important level that was broken. And thus far, it's all healthy. However, we want to be ahead, not behind. If we see some type of pullback, by the way, Bitcoin was leading throughout 2023. Everyone has watched Bitcoin dominance pick up. Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things this time of cycle. I think we saw Ethereum suppressed a little bit because of the Shanghai upgrade, the little bit of concern about what was going to happen, specifically of people that received withdrawable Ethereum, whether or not they were going to dump it on the market, and we were going to see a little bit of selling pressure. Coming out of that update, we're seeing Ethereum stretch to the upside. And now it looks like that we're getting ready for a pullback. Out of this pullback, watching price behavior, that's when we could be looking for potentially an upside surprise here. And why I wouldn't call it alt season, because alt season doesn't generally last, 2 to 3 weeks. It's longer than that. There are pronounced moves. And alt season generally happens 6 months after Bitcoin makes its new all-time high. That's the time that people are like, Bitcoin is doing that again. I missed it. It's too expensive. Let me go ahead and speculate in these low cap altcoins and hope that I can make a lot of money. I was speaking to someone over the weekend, and it's the same type of mentality. They're like, Bitcoin's expensive. What type of altcoin could I go ahead and buy and potentially make more money to buy Bitcoin? They don't realize at all anything that has to do with like first of all, the decentralization. They don't understand limited supply. There's a lot of things that you understand and take for granted that the majority of the people out there have no idea about. And so what happens is that they look to go ahead and make what they think is going to be easy money. It doesn't really work out like that. I want to go ahead and dig in further and show you that usually what happens when you see altcoins. Here's a good example. Here's a example. You can see Ethereum here kind of like making that bigger grasp up than Bitcoin. And that's usually a sign of exhaustion of a local top. And then you see this pullback. That's what we want to be aware of could potentially happen. Let's look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin right now is technically super bullish. Throughout all of 2023, we've seen repair upon repair. 4 major bullish repairs have taken place, including the one that occurred last week above this consolidation here, above this level over here of $29,000. And all that we're seeing so far is normal behavior. We're seeing a breakout and now a retest to make sure that this level of resistance is confirmed into support. And if that is to happen, and we see Bitcoin over here able to resume up over here, then likely for the next leg up. And the next leg up, how far are we going to go? We have resistance above us at 32,000. Is it going to be able to go ahead and poke ourselves into that? I do think if we have a successful retest over here, that actually we do see some nice price appreciation across alts, specifically some of the leaders like Ethereum and Cardano. Again, Bitcoin has been the one throughout the first 4 months of 2023 that has been leading the charge, leading the way. And it's made these important milestone repairs, now giving the opportunity for some alts to go ahead and ride that wave. And if we have a successful hold here, that's likely what's going to happen out of that. If we close below this line that I'm highlighting right now, it's right around 29,000. That's an invalidation of the breakout, but all hope is not lost. If that were to happen, we still, as long as we have a close above this area I'm highlighting over here, 27,500, as long as we hold that level, there's still the possibility that Bitcoin could consolidate down over here and then make another run, and it's still entirely healthy if that happens. All right? So don't go from one extreme to the other. Don't say because, we had this breakout and now we lost it and get flipped flat back and forth and you're going to get chopped up. It's still there. Look, it's not a healthy sign closing below this level, but it's a more neutral sign. A complete invalidation is going to be closing below 27,500 in this area over here. And if that happens, not only is this repair a false breakout, likely what we're going to see is a move down to this next the important breakout that occurred prior to this one. That was above this level over here, 25,150 in that area over here, just above 25,000. And a breakdown, a close below 27,500 is going to probably pull that like a magnet. And if that holds, that's still a good sign that we're looking at a healthy market. And actually what we're looking at is something more along the lines of this occurring. We're seeing this move up, this move up. We want to see consolidation. We want to see consolidation before the next move up. That would be entirely healthy. Now, I know you could point to price action in 2019, 4 years ago. And you could say in the move off of the all-time low into 14,000 that we didn't have any type of consolidation like that. That we had some consolidation that actually looked like an upward sloping and then short and quick. Yeah, that's what happened 4 years ago. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen now. Stay in front of it. These are entirely different times. 4 years ago, we were looking at the end of a tightening cycle. 4 years ago, we were looking at rate hikes had stopped. Quantitative tightening was still running up until September of 2019. We are looking at a pretty strong probability that in May we still have another rate hike. It's an entirely different situation, and it doesn't mean, what is June probability now this morning? 64% chance that the markets are pricing in a pause come the June meeting. If we have a pause in June, now we are more closely aligned to what happened in 2019. The one caveat here is that it's not over. What do I mean by that? It looks like we're looking at rising energy prices, rising gasoline prices, rising oil prices. That in the June CPI could show an uptick into inflation. I don't know how well that's going to go over with the boys and girls over at the Federal Reserve. They're looking to make sure that they stay in front of it. Keep in mind, what they just did was backstop the banks. They were able to backstop the banks. The music's playing, which means that they could still continue tightening. Either which way, let's jump over here and continue looking at that from a different view. You can see, again, this is on log scale right now. It's that same area I pointed out, 27,500. As long as we're above that, we're still good here. Closing below that, that would take us from a whole sequence of repairs to a first breakdown. That breakdown likely targeting this area over here above 25,000. If that holds, we're still looking very solid here in 2023. If that does not, at that point, there's going to be a whole different sentiment occurring in the market, and that's getting a little far ahead. I'm going to stop right there right now. I want to take a look at what's going on also here on the US dollar. In the US dollar, you could see this trend line break that is occurring here this morning, and it's occurring above not only the trend line, it's occurring above. You see this touch of support, resistance. It's a level in the market. It's a confluence of resistance. If the market is rejected here today, if we close on the daily time frame below that, that is nothing more than a move into resistance and a rejection. And that could take us all the way down towards the whole number 100. If we close above here, though, at that point in time, you got to stay on the right side. That's a buy impulse occurring. I know that everyone is talking about the death of the dollar, de-dollarization. It's over. We're looking at now a start of a prolonged bear market in the US dollar. I don't care about any of those things. I don't care about any of those things because when the dollar was over here at 106, right? Excuse me. When the dollar was over here above 110, and people were telling you there's nothing in the way between now and 120 and that we're going to 160 on the DXY, we followed price and we took the sell impulse. We were early and we stayed that way all the way down to this buy impulse taking place. And then we made sure we get back on the right side. We missed one over here, right? We missed a couple. This one was a failure that occurred, right? This was a buy impulse and then the failure getting us back on the right side. There was another one over here we missed. It got a little choppy, right? It's not just like, oh, there's a trend line here and there's a sell impulse and there's a buy impulse. There's nothing easy about it. I want you to understand and know that. But if I see an impulse take place, I know I'm on the wrong side. If I stay on the wrong side of it, we could have a buy impulse taking place here. It makes sense as most people were expecting the tightening cycle to be over and for a pause to be occurring at May 3rd upcoming FOMC meeting. It's going to be a 25 basis point hike. And then the mic is going to be in Powell's hand. And what Jerome Powell says is going to go ahead and set expectations going forward. I don't know what he's going to say. I imagine that he's going to come off hawkish. I will be surprised if he doesn't, but then again, I've been surprised before. I'm going to take what he says and go ahead and readjust my expectations. We're looking at the S&P 500, and Friday, it closed above this red line. We looked at analysis together on the S&P 500 on Friday, so I'm just going to build off that right now instead of going ahead and redoing that analysis. Above the purple was the last buy impulse taken, and you could see that we consolidated into that red line, breaking above it. That was a repair, and you could see right now that potentially we're getting ready to close above it. If that happens, and there are a lot of people, a lot of traditional finance folks who bought the S&Ps. This was they're bearish on the markets. They're bearish on the markets. They don't really pay attention to this buy impulse that took place. They remain bearish on here. They got very emotional, but that was a hold. And then, to be honest, I was very neutral over here. I didn't know what was going on. I was new, and I should be neutral, I think. Over here, CTM getting me on the right side. Together, we're able to determine that this was an important buy repair taking place. And then this would be one where a lot of people flipped bullish. Notice over here, you also have, at this particular point, horizontal resistance that we need to clear above. More importantly, if you did flip bullish over here and you close below it, you need to exit that position. If you close back above it, you could re-enter. If you cross over here, this green line over here to the downside, that is a major breakdown and sell impulse. Make sure that you do not get comfortable and stay on the right side. If at any point in time, though, you are, Andrew, appreciate the love. Thank you for just showing your appreciation. And anyone else, if you're enjoying spending this time together, if you learn something, you enjoy being here, go ahead and hit the like button. It's greatly appreciated by everyone. So Mark, this is really good awareness, right? Historically, alts don't pump in this part of Bitcoin's 4-year cycle. Historically, at this point of Bitcoin's 4-year cycle, you do see Bitcoin dominance continue to grow. Could this time be different? I mean, it could be it could be on both ends. We want to make sure that we stay in front of it. I want to show you what generally happens this time of cycle. Here's a nice chart shared with me, and it's showing, you can see this is the halving, the last halving that occurred. This is Bitcoin bottoming, and then you saw this 1, it's counted 2, 3 into that local top. And then we entered this accumulation area. By the way, this is the global lockdowns. I consider that anomaly. This is if we're going to see 4-year cycle behavior continue. This area that I'm highlighting over here, Bitcoin dominance rises during this period. We don't see Altseason occurring. Altseason occurs somewhere around this area over here, right? That again, Bitcoin's making those new all-time highs. People are attracted because they see Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things. But instead of thinking in percentage gains, they think that, well, I need to find the next Bitcoin. What's something cheap that I could potentially make a lot of money in? Because at the end of the day, I want to make more money to be able to go ahead and buy Bitcoin with. I don't know. It doesn't always work out well. You can see that we're seeing similar behavior. If this is the bottom and we're seeing that similar behavior occur, people looking before the halving for, are we going to see a potential local top? Again, I just want you to understand that things are not the same in so much as that it is possible the Fed moves to a pause sometime this quarter. Not only does the Fed move to a pause, what happens if the Fed were to stop quantitative tightening? What happens if the Fed was actually and needed to move towards some type of quantitative easing and outright purchase of securities? I don't know what is going to happen over the next 6 months, over the next 9 months. And depending on what happens, we're going to see the price of Bitcoin react, right? What do I mean by that? It is possible that Bitcoin could make a new all-time high before the halving. I think that under the current macro climate, the odds of that happening right now are extremely low. I don't know that Bitcoin's even going to be able to put in that June local top, right? You can see over here, this is a view that we often looked at, and this is the halving. And prior to the last halving, you see Bitcoin bottoming and then able to kick up all the way to the 0.786 retracement fib. And then it entered into the accumulation phase. By the way, we're looking forward to if something like this happens again, because this gives us the opportunity before the breakout of the bull market, which could align very well with the macro, to accumulate more Bitcoin. You can see in the cycle before that, similar behavior happened. Before the halving, you saw a retracement all the way back to the 0.786 retracement fib. It could happen again. And not only that, like people like certainties. Even if they understand nothing's certain, they want to be told certainties. I can't do that, so I'm not going to do that with you. I don't know. It's no way, shape, or form a certainty that we make it to the retracement fib before the cycle. It's also, if we do, it doesn't mean that we're not going to go ahead and make a new all-time high, and that after that we crash and burn, or keep going. That would be max pain because most people aren't expecting it. Or, and this is where I stand, there's a strong possibility, there's a strong potential that we roll over before making it all the way pre-halving to the 0.76 retracement fib. What happens these next couple of weeks as the equity markets start looking towards earnings, what forward guidance is going to be, is extremely important for what happens with the equity markets and whether or not they're able to maintain these repairs that they have, or indeed they do roll over and the equity markets could indeed test their 12-month lows and even take out new lows. Now, I don't know whether or not Bitcoin, if it were to see some type of adverse reaction from risk and from the equity markets, if that means Bitcoin is going to take out these new lows or not. We have to continue watching what's happening over here on the technicals, right? If we break down over here, and that gives us an opportunity to hold. If we don't hold over here, then likely, and I'm just going to move this up 1 second, that same trend line, then likely we could be testing this trend line that's coming off of the banking crisis lows. If that one didn't hold, let's just call it just for fun, somewhere around 22,000 Bitcoin. If that didn't hold, yeah, then we're in jeopardy of retesting and or taking out the lows. I don't know what's going to happen, and either do you. So we're going to make sure that we continue to put the work in and stay on the right side. I want to take a look here at the NASDAQ as well. NASDAQ has put up one beautiful repair, two beautiful repair, breakout, retest, resumption. Consolidating looks really good. The warning sign that I have is an extension of this line over here. We've had 1-2 touches into it. If we close below this line and we close below the purple line, that would be our major breakdown. And that likely is taking us down to retest. You see the confluence over here, right into this light trend line right over there. Yeah, I mean, that's a significant difference. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves. Right now, though, we're looking quite bullish. We've seen two major repairs. Not only that, I've seen people like, who is that guy? Tom Lee, right? The perma-bull. The dude, he flipped bearish over here. We had Michael Berry telling you to sell. We had Kramer telling you, wait for the dip and then buy. The dip never came. Both Michael Berry was wrong. Both Kramer was wrong, right? And you had Tom Lee going at this point in time bearish. And now he's flipping bullish again. Man, you just got to watch the charts. You got to pick your levels and then manage risk around it. That's all it is. It's simple. And the hardest part is when you have to go back and forth. When you have to go back and forth, that's the hardest part. There's nothing easy about it. Let's keep going over here. We're looking at a little bit CTM 2.0, and the green lines over here is account balances, 8-hour time frame. The blue line is that intertrade all-time high. You could see that we're looking at Cardano, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, which just made its new all-time high last month in March, all now back towards their new all-time highs. And it's really nice to see because you could see how quickly Ethereum, right? Ethereum and Cardano, who were both into pretty significant drawdown, pretty significant, how quickly they rise again off. That's important because, again, we don't know what this current position is going to look like. We had a really good exit on Bitcoin yesterday. Bitcoin throughout 2023 doing a fantastic job of making sure that it stays on the right side, keeping that drawdown really small. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water here. Jim, look, we've been early positioning ourselves. Again, we showed at the beginning of this video, we've been early positioning ourselves for what that looked like, the upside. Bitcoin under 17,000, talking about the bull market breakout when everyone was scared that we are crashing down to 12, 10,000 or anything like that, right? And if you watch this video 4 months ago when price was down over here, not only that, we had, more importantly, CTM 2.0 at that particular time. Look at this beautiful buy entry. It's buying down over here. You know what it was like in 2022. Almost all sells, both ways though. But buying over here when everyone was, look, you could be the best at some type of discretionary analysis and or trading, but it's completely discretionary. Taking that out of the equation and leaning into something mechanical that's going to keep you positioned on the right side, there's nothing like it. Why we exited over here simply because momentum lasts, 2% gain. It didn't continue. Over here during the banking crisis, we were one signal period away from attacking on the sell side. And if we would have rolled over, we would have been attacking on the sell side. If we start seeing those breakdowns that I was showing you from the discretionary levels, 27,500, we will soon enough be attacking on the sell side. The reason that people get so entrenched to this perma bull or perma bear mentality is because they don't have an edge to keep them on the right side. We do. Nevertheless, we want to make sure that whether it's talking about the macro, whether it's technical analysis, that we are the best at it. We can see here Ethereum still holding on to its current trade, holding a gain of 15% into profit. Cardano likely also like that, holding a gain just under 15% into profit. And Bitcoin here with that beautiful early exit, getting on the sidelines. If we are able to hold, to make this hold that we talked about earlier in the episode, if we hold this level over here and Bitcoin is able to reverse up, very soon, this green line gets back above, we will see Bitcoin over here also taking another shot at the long side, managing risk extraordinarily well. If we see a further rollover in price, Ethereum and Cardano will be giving back a good part of these gains. That's exactly what happens. We never take that peak profit. We're always looking to go ahead and exit, and we give back some of the max peak gains during that. Looking at the daily time frame, 2023, Bitcoin cleaning up. One massive trade, still continues to hold, 20% open profits. We're looking at Ethereum. Ethereum got chopped around in this area, put up an early nice gain, and then got chopped around and is able to get back on the right side and extend it out. Cardano also holding a nice gain on the daily time frame. Look, the 8-hour is more profitable, substantially also. The daily time frame is much easier to trade. One time a day, you have a signal period. Roughly 12, 18 trades a year. Alert on the phone, take the trade. The returns are still substantially greater than you will find from your favorite influencer, analyst, whatever have you out there. I think that so we have over here the trade confirmations on the 8-hour and on the daily. It's time to move and look. Look, this is a great trade, by the way. Even though it's only a 2% gain, look, the price didn't continue moving up. It rolled over, getting out as soon as the earliest potential sign of an exit, because price is rolling over, is absolutely priceless. If it rolls back up, we'll get into it. But I think it's time that we move and add confirmations for stocks as well. As you know, we've been taking a look at TQQQ, the inverse, SQQQ, getting ready to close. See, it was an entry here about an hour ago, getting ready to let go of it if it's not there. And the gains here on the stock market, CTM 2023, one of the most promising additions. People think that we move really quick. It's not true. We're very deliberate in what we do. Now, there are immense growth spurts, and I know that we're involved in so many different areas of the markets and working hard, but we're very, very slow to make adjustments. One of those major adjustments was moving into the stock market in 2023. I mean, the gains, someone trying to put up a 16% yearly gain on the equity markets, and we're 4 months into it. FNGU crushing it first 4 months of the year. One of the things we need to talk about is I use real-time data. I pay I think it's like $3 a month through TradingView for the real-time data. There are some people that use the delayed data, and I need to understand which we set the alert up here for the confirmation. So that's a discussion we need to have within CTM and figure out what's the best way to go about that. And we have, of course, obviously Tesla as well. Yeah, that's what we're looking at over here today on this Monday. There's an enormous amount of work to do today as we start this week, because what I want to start looking at is building off of last week's momentum and looking at, it was a list. Let me go ahead and pull it up and show you. Let me jump back over here. We got a long list of metals that I want to take a look at. And I showed you on GDXJ, CTM 2.0 style solution. I want to take a look across the board. So I want to make sure that those that process begins, and hopefully, it doesn't mean that we will find one also, right? But a lot of people are looking at the potential beginning of a prolonged bull market beginning in gold and precious metals. Maybe we're getting close. We still have to have that breakout and confirmation. I think that tomorrow we should pick up on last week's gold video and continue that process. But I want to spend a lot of time. I want to spend a lot of time doing that, kicking it off today, and get that process going so that by the end of the week that we're able to have some type of, let's say, confirmation, affirmation that we have multiple working solutions. Don't forget when I showed you GDX, right? It was like over the last 2 years, since 2021, a 400% return. 400% return is good. I mean, it's not like anything that we do on Ethereum or anything like that, but it is on Bitcoin, right? Let me just come back and just give you some broad strokes. Like Bitcoin since 2021, the drawdown was much higher though. It was like 33% with a 400% return. And if you look what we do on obviously something like Ethereum or Cardano, it's not really even in the ballpark. Now, I mean, 2,000% with a 15% drawdown. Does that make something like a triple leveraged gold miner ETF attractive. It doesn't now, but we're not in any type of bull market. We've been seeing price basically consolidate in drawdown over the last 2 years in gold, right? Peaked out a couple of years ago, price then, now approaching those new all-time highs. It's possible that if we were to enter a bull market, that we see some explosive moves. So it's hard comparing the return over the last couple of years versus each other. I think that those solutions should be in place just in case anyone wants to execute them off them, including in things like the options market. So that's why I'm going to be looking at them and see if we could just, solidify something a little bit further. So, outlying possibility, Ripple, case ends favorably, and then a new alt season begins, or case settles and does not get market clarity for all tokens, and SEC goes after everyone else with more fire. Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainties. I think that if SEC was able to settle favorably with Ripple, that there would be a near-term price appreciation specifically in Ripple. I think that whether or not we see any type of alt season is really more dependent on what's happening with the overall macro. And I know that a lot of people don't like to tie into the cryptocurrency market, into the traditional markets. But the fact of the matter is that traditional markets run the show by, ignited by Fed policy. And just like going back to 2020, where we talked about what the greatest risk would be to the upcoming bull market, and that was deemed at the time as the Federal Reserve and Fed policy, not something like Mt. Gox, not something like Tether. And true to form, that's exactly what it was. It was when the Fed pivoted to taper down its QE and begin the tightening cycle that Bitcoin and crypto peaked out. And I think that's what we need to continue to focus in on. There could be lots of opportunity. I personally am not able to find any type of mechanical solution to XRP. The way that it trades is just, it has its own characteristics, and it has these sharp rips that is usually distributed into. I can't find any type of mechanical edge that makes XRP worth it. For me, I don't care what we're trading. There's a difference between, look, I value Bitcoin for the unique properties it has, including being trustless, permissionless, decentralized, because that I have no third-party risk. There's many different attributes that make holding Bitcoin very attractive. And I have to make the distinction between what is Bitcoin and what is crypto. And then there's also the distinction between trading Bitcoin and trading it as fiat, which is nothing more than a fiat account at that point. And then holding Bitcoin self-custody, multi-sig, cold storage, something that you own, possess in a secure manner. Those are different types of strategies and investments. I don't care what you're looking to use to go ahead and to make that fiat, right? So if you're trading Ethereum, and if you're a Bitcoiner and you want to stack more Bitcoiner, well, then I suggest that you do understand the opportunities that are available in the cryptocurrency market throughout traditional finance. To tie yourself into a corner where, because you have certain beliefs about Bitcoin, therefore you won't look at advantages the markets gives, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I think that the idea is to make sure that you thrive. Thriving means being able to see what is the best opportunity, taking advantage of that. And then I think that you have to look at that hedge against the debasement of the currency, that hedge against third-party risk, Bitcoin as being a completely different strategy. BlockFi, third-party risk right in front of your face, right? BlockFi, look, there was obviously, if you remember, Matt, because it was public live streams at the time, I know that we were early in getting that technical breakdown that occurred December, first week of December, Bitcoin breaking below 53,140. There are many people that are unable out there to go ahead and have an ideas of what expectations are, but then be able to follow price. And we had a technical breakdown and we called it and we said, look, de-risk down, take profits here. What is de-risking for de-risking down? To me, I was very clear that meant I am paying off all BlockFi loans. That's the way I hope no one used BlockFi for custody, right? But if people were using advantage of accessing capital through collateral, that was a breakdown. And when that occurred, it was, and very clear, de-risk down. BlockFi has opened up, Celsius opened up the door of these new, quote unquote, Bitcoin companies. River Financial, we're a Bitcoin company. Unchained Capital, right? I think Unchained Capital offers, which you're able to access capital through your collateral there as well. I think there's a little bit more about openness that the funds that you have there are not being used in a way that is like taking on extra risk. River Financial, look, they tell you that you should custody your own Bitcoin. A lot of people are still unable to make that whole, people look for what's easy. People look for what's easy. I think that a lot of hard lessons were learned, right? I think that a lot of hard lessons were learned, and hard lessons are, first of all, very difficult. And then at the same time, they make you stronger going forward. One of those lessons, FTX, a lot of people putting a lot of trust in because you saw these photo ops taking place with Bill Clinton. Oh, look at this guy. This guy wants to like make the world a better place, and he's a vegan. And you know what? I wonder to this day what would have happened if FTX and other exchanges were not selling Bitcoin they didn't have. In my opinion, that suppressed price greatly. Now, did you think that for a second FTX licensed in the US that they were doing these fraudulent things? I don't know. I mean, there were some people ahead of time who called out the potential fraud happening in FTX, but they were far and few between. Will that stuff happen again next cycle? Assuming the bull of all bulls runs again and you're seeing massive market liquidity offering this huge flow, this huge current, and then all of a sudden risk will become rampant again and people will be making the same mistakes in a different way. And what it will look like and how it will happen, I don't know. There's big news I didn't share. There's big news I didn't share. I forget the name of the country. I'll have it queued up for tomorrow, hopefully. Is it, and forgive my pronunciation, but was it the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Tonga going ahead and they lost a bunch of money on BlockFi, by the way. They lost a bunch of money on BlockFi. Now they are going ahead and they are buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency and they are self-custodying it. Again, people took big hits, big lessons learned going forward. I hope that we're not looking at companies like Celsius, like BlockFi, who are going ahead and actually taking risks that put the whole industry and livelihoods of people in jeopardy. And actually, people are stronger for it. We'll find out, though. I think that we're going to see a lot of the same happen again, just in a different way. The Ethereum Foundation is counterparty risk. So I like to think of Ethereum as the World Economic Forum coin. Like if someone was interested in purchasing Ethereum, I would tell you, oh, the WEF coin, that's a good one. I mean, you understand that they have complete control over it. Like, for example, if a country like Iran was using Ethereum to sell oil, like they could stop that. They couldn't stop that with Bitcoin. There's a difference, right? And they like it because they have control over it and they support it openly. And if they're doing that, well, likely there's a massive amount of network effects. Likely it's going to continue appreciate. Now they could also want to get like you have to think that these people don't have the same good intentions that you have, and maybe what they're looking to do is to like, it's a big honeypot. They're trying to get a lot of people invested so that they could rug pull them and then be like, oh, you thought like crypto was going to help you out and be your savior? El Salvador adopted Bitcoin, first country. Interesting. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they would prefer to have that running in a successful way where they have complete control over it, right? But Ethereum and Bitcoin are completely different. Completely different. And if you don't think that the World Economic Forum or that Ethereum is completely centralized and that transactions could be centered, you just got to do more work. I'm sitting here and I love making money off of Ethereum. I love trading Ethereum because it outperforms from a volatility standpoint Bitcoin. That's only 3 years, right? Forget going back to the top of the last bull market over here. And then people's eyes, they don't understand. Oh, wait, is that 4 million adding in a bull market? Yeah, but I like the drawdown. I love Ethereum. I love it for trading it and for being able to either make more fiat or take that fiat and convert it into Bitcoin. But there's an enormous, some people say that, well, I don't think of as Ethereum as an altcoin. Altcoin means alternative to Bitcoin. There's only one Bitcoin, and all these other altcoins are altcoins. Is Ethereum have massive potential to continue to go on and become something significantly bigger? Yeah. And guess what? If vested interests like the World Economic Forum are supportive of it, well, there's a greater chance that it's going to happen. So anyway, listen, if I say something that makes you think, well, don't take my word for it. Go ahead and do your research. And if you need any resources, ask me for them. I'll be happy to give it to you. There's no question about that, and help you understand what's going on. But it's a little bit. It's a process. It takes time in order to be able to go ahead and for all of us form the opinions that we need to make sure that we stay on the right side. We got heads in action. Ether is better than fiat, better than Bitcoin. Look, it's difficult, right? One of the things that I think that those of us really involved and invested in the crypto space is that we also sleep on gold. And look, these next 10 years, 2030, the Great Reset, monetary reset is happening because this dollar debt-based system is unsustainable. Everyone knows it. That's why you're seeing now very concrete examples of de-dollarization taking place. That's why you're seeing this alliances form, right? The BRICS, the BRICS plus whatever. And, as we continue towards this monetary reset, if anyone believes they know what the winner is going to be, they are deluding themselves. The way that I view it, Bitcoin, dollars, and gold. And they're each a unique and different form of investment. The way that I look at cryptocurrency is that it's a fantastic way to grow your fiat and therefore Bitcoin stashes. If you view it different, if you think that, I can't say this with a serious effect without a smile on my face. They just changed the monetary policy on Ethereum recently in this past year. Like they could do it again anytime they want. Look, like don't fall in love. Anyway, network effects is what it's all about. I keep meaning to look at what's going on with the network effects, specifically of Cardano, Bitcoin, by the way, the bullish case for Bitcoin ends if adoption ends. It's just not a guarantee. We need to keep in front of it, stay in front of it. Oof. You know, I heard, did anyone hear this interview? It was the Joe Rogan Experience AI. In the first episode, it was completely generated by the AI. Like the whole interview, he was interviewing Sam Altman. What's the founder of ChatGPT? Sam Altman. And the interview is between these two, and it's absolutely astonishing. It's amazing. I mean, there's no emotion. That's the only thing that you could tell, that it's actually not a human being. But I imagine within a relatively short time that these AIs are able to fake emotion, and it's going to be almost a complete deep fake, right? And in the interview, though, one of the questions that is asked Sam is, well, what are some of the concerns that, you know, the threats to humanity that we should have with AI? And the answer generated by the AI is that, well, governments could use it for psych ops, to basically to form public opinion. And if you remember going back until I raised my hand in February, I bought a bunch of toilet paper. Why? Why was toilet paper sold out in supermarkets, and yet medicine and food, rice, beans, you know, completely available? It doesn't really make a lot of sense, except that likely I fell for a psych op. And none of us are immune to it. And if those are going to be now, these military grade psych ops are going to be orchestrated with the powers that be through the technology of AI, man, we better get real. We better stick together. We better be sharper than ever, because again, monetary reset is happening. You can't just buy Bitcoin and expect that by 2030, like whatever your expectations are going to happen. It could happen, but it's certainly not a given. And you better be doing more to make sure that you, your family, your loved ones are protected. That people don't like to work hard. It takes hard work. We are just short of 10 likes for hitting 100. That's the milestone I would like to hit. If you are on your way out, we'll look at Cardano. Or if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and please show some love. Hit some thumbs up if you enjoy being here today. Some people are saying that Cardano technical analysis inverse head and shoulders broke it upside to 70 cents. Let's take a look at it. Let me jump on Cardano over here. So some people are saying that we're looking at a left shoulder, a head, right? Oh, that's great. I'm glad. I never noticed that. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. And they're saying that the upside is going to be, I'm going to draw it in the neckline like this. I don't like having that angle on there. Let me get rid of that angle. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Hold on one second. I'm going to draw the neckline like this. And that's great. That's a great look. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And if you're looking at the measured move, I could see about 25 cents here. So yeah, 65, 70 cents. And a measured move off of that would be 70 cents. Well, there's one thing I want to add to that. Two things I want to add to that. First is that's late, right? What do you mean? What's he talking about? That's late. Well, you know, here's a trend line over here, and bam, 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 breakout, retest, resumption. And you know what? There's a significant advantage of getting in over here and getting out over here. But look at this. There's nothing easy about it. What do I mean by that? Well, even if you took this one over here, right? You're likely, if it was a long-term position, you're likely stopped out. Anyway. And then there's like some CTM black diamond stuff, which is showing you that really the entry's down over here. And that's true. And that's experts only. If you want to learn more, just subscribe to the channel. We will cover it. We're going to spend a lot of time together. Yeah, I mean, look, you don't know whether or not this breakout continues. There are many head and shoulders that break out and continue on, and those that fail. Let's look at the DXY. I think we could have a pretty good example on the DXY. Coming back right over here. You see this reverse head and shoulders off the bottom of 2021. And here's the neckline, right, drawn very closely. We had a breakout, right? And then this breakout failed back below the trend line, right? That's what I remember earlier in the session. I said sometimes it takes seeing like back and forth when we were looking at the S&P 500. And I was saying like, if you close below the red line, you got to exit that position. And if you get back above, you got to get, that's the hard part. It exhausts many people. Many people actually know what they need to do, but they're not able to do it. And it's because there's nothing easy about it. You got to consider yourself that you are going to need to perform on an elite level. And if you imagine what that means for an athlete, and you imagine the type of work that goes into them performing on the level they do, you get some type of inclination of what is required of you. One of the things that happen is someone could see this reverse head and shoulders, and they could take the right trade, and then they could exit, and then you have to get back on the right side here. You have a breakout, retest, resumption up, and they're not able to do that. A similar thing could happen with Cardano, the way that we're looking at it, in so much as that, well, right now, that's a beautiful breakout. But it doesn't mean that Cardano won't close below there and then rip back up, or not. It could also come back. Look, just because it's a head and shoulders is nothing more than one pattern that's giving you the opportunity for one trade. The probability of that trade working out successfully is maybe something like 55%. And you could trade head and shoulder patterns, inverse head and shoulder patterns across multiple assets. And that could be, with good risk and money management, a strategy alone that could help you be a profitable trader. But it's only one trade, and the odds of it happening are, well, if anyone knows, I mean, I can't wait to the day that we have like our own chat GPT tool in here, and while we're talking together, we could ask it a question, and then like over here, you'll see the answer. We go, well, what's the probability of inverse head and shoulders, making its measured move? And then it'll tell us the percentage. But say it's 55%. Well, there's a 55% chance that we'll hit 70, on this move. But it's not that easy, and there's more to it, right? So I hope that's a little helpful. Quinn, thank you, my brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate all of the support. And more importantly, I appreciate you all being here, working together to help us make sure that we do what's necessary, right? So we passed 100 likes. Thank you, everyone. Really grateful for that. What'd you all think of the intro this morning? It was a little different, if you remember. The intro was showing what we're going to be talking about in the stream ahead, instead of having our music interlude. I'm interested in your thoughts in that. CTM, I really want to know what we're going to be doing here, whether or not I could put in, someone didn't like the intro. That's okay. Just let me know. But like in the comments, if you add why you didn't like it, that's more helpful, more constructive. In the stocks, are we looking for the confirmation alerts for the real-time data I use, which I prefer, or is it most people using not that same data? Any type of feedback there would be greatly appreciated. And there we are. It's a good way to start off Monday. I'm going to keep these up over here as I get to work on that right now. And there's an immense amount of work to do. Everyone, I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. God bless you. I'll see you soon.